that question because the reality
Could that have been a motivation for the way they voted?
And it relates very closely to what Senator
Could that
Hayes
have
said.
been a motivation for the way they voted?
That you've seen an inefficient
Could that have
IRS.
been a motivation
If you allow
for
the
way
witness
they
to
voted?
answer, you might get your answer, Senator
It
Kennedy.
frankly couldn't have been.
It could or couldn't?
It could not have been.
How do you know you didn't talk to him?
Because the reason why you've seen
You
an
just
IRS
made this
that
statement that
hasn't been able.
every Republican in the House supports Israel only if it has been made easier for people to cheat on their taxes.
You just saw that clip, and I need you to stick around. A Yale law professor goes in front of the United States Senate, makes a sweeping accusation about every single House Republican, and then admits she never spoke to a single one of them. Not one. Senator Kennedy saw right through it, and he was not letting it go. Watch the full video and come back because I have a lot to say. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button now.
We now turn to Senator Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks to all of our witnesses today.
Wait, listen.
Professor Sarin, you're a professor at Yale Law School?
I am.
Okay. And I see you've been pretty active on Twitter. I'm looking at one of your tweets from a few months ago, October 30th, 2023. I'd like to read it to you. The House Republican stance is, I kid you not, support for Israel as long as we make it easier for people to cheat on their taxes. End quote. Did you tweet that?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. How many Republican congressmen or women did you talk to before you made that statement?
I was reacting to the fact that, and we've talked about it actually.
Yes,
so
ma'am,
far
but
in this.
first, if you could, how many Republican congresswomen or congressmen did you talk to?
I didn't talk to them. I actually was just reacting to the legislation that was proposed.
You
and
didn't talk to
passed.
you didn't talk to any of them
No, sir.
before you said that every single one of them supports Israel only if it is made easier for people to cheat on their taxes?
I actually don't think that every single one of them believes
But
that.
that's what you
But I
said.
do think that the legislation passed by the House reflects a statement of purpose that in order to support Israel, it's
But I'm
important
looking at
to
what you said.
allow
what your
taxpayers to
students
be able
saw.
to
You
cheat on their
said
taxes.
that every single House Republican, none of whom you talked to, would only support Israel if it was made easier for Americans to cheat on their taxes. Now, you said that, and you didn't talk to any of them.
Senator Kennedy,
Didn't you?
I am struck by, and perhaps this is something on which we agree, that it is incredibly important to support Israel. It is also incredibly important to make sure that taxpayers at the top of the distribution
we agree on
pay their
Israel,
fair
but I
share.
just can't believe you would say this about members of Congress. It's pretty pejorative, it's vicious. Let me finish. Without talking to them. I mean, would it be possible for somebody to support a reduction to the IRS budget because they simply believe the federal government ought to have a balanced budget? Would that be a fair position?
That
Would that be a principled position?
Except that that actually doesn't work with respect to defunding
But would
the
it be a
IRS.
principled position?
It wouldn't be an accurate position because defunding
But you don't
the
know because you
IRS
didn't talk to anybody, did you?
Well,
you just said it.
Defunding the IRS, the CBO agrees, everyone who's testifying today agrees that that is going to add to deficits, not reduce them.
Could it be that a House Republican wanted to reduce the IRS's budget because they think that the IRS is a model of inefficiency and shouldn't be rewarded with more money.
Well,
Could that have been a possibility, a motivation for the way they
Senator
voted?
Kennedy, I so appreciate that question because the reality.
Could that have been
that the
a motivation for the way they voted?
And it relates very closely to what Senator
Could
Lee
that have
said.
been a motivation for the way they
reason
voted?
That you've seen an inefficient.
Could that have
IRS,
been a motivation
If you
for
allow the
way they
witness to
voted?
answer, you might get your answer, Senator
It
Kennedy.
frankly couldn't have been.
It
because
could or couldn't?
It could not have been.
How do you know you didn't talk to him?
Because the reason why you've seen
You
the
just
IRS
made this
that
statement that
hasn't been able.
every Republican in the House supports Israel only if it has been made easier for people to cheat on their taxes. Could it be that maybe a House member thought that, well, the more money we spend, the more deficits we have, and the more deficits we have, the more pressure is put on interest rates, and the higher interest rates go, the more it hurts the poor. Could that have been
Senator
the position of one of the House Republicans?
Senator Kennedy.
Could it have been theoretically?
Couldn't have been because
Could it
everyone.
couldn't have
agrees.
been?
It frankly couldn't.
How do you
have
know
been.
you didn't talk to him?
Well, I know that everyone agrees, including witnesses across the aisle, including CBO, including every single tax expert that has contemplated this question, that defunding the IRS makes deficits worse, not better. And so this is a deficit
I just find it,
measure.
Professor, appalling that you would make a statement like this, a vicious statement like this, without talking to a single person about whom you made the statement. And I'm going to remind you, you know, you can only be young once, but you can always be immature. And you ought to think about that.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
Let me just say that I think that the treatment of witnesses is beginning to degrade a bit here. And I'm going to strike some commentary if it continues down this road. I think personal insults to witnesses are not appropriate, and I will not be tolerant of that in this committee.
Well, could I respond, Mr. Chairman? You're going to
Fire away. I think you just called a
You're going
Yale
to do
Law
what
School
you got to
professor
do,
immature.
but I'm going to continue to use my time. You bring witnesses as you're entitled to, and some of them are very good. Some of them have the credibility of Michael Avenatti, and I'm going to use my time when I think it's appropriate to
And I'm
test.
going to use my authority as chairman
to test
as I think
credibility,
it is appropriate
witnesses'
as well,
credibility.
in
So
order
you
to
do
keep
what you
order
got to do, and I'm going to do what I got to do.
good behavior in
But
a
if that
Senate
is meant
committee.
to bully me, you're talking
No
to
attempt
the
to
wrong
bully
guy.
you. No attempt to bully you, none at all. It's to keep the witness and the committee free of bullying.
I'm entitled to test their credibility, and I think one of our witnesses just got tested.
I hope I passed, Senator. Thank you.
You didn't.
All right, now you've seen the whole thing. Let me break down what stood out. The tweet. She said every House Republican would only support Israel if it was made easier for people to cheat on their taxes. Every single one. And Kennedy's first question cut right to it. How many of them did you actually talk to? 0. She talked to 0 of them. She just posted it and then sat in front of the Senate and defended it. Kennedy gave her every chance to walk it back. He floated 3 completely reasonable alternative explanations. Maybe they believe in fiscal restraint. Maybe they think the IRS is bloated. Maybe they're worried about deficits driving up interest rates and hurting working people. These are not fringe positions. And her answer to all 3 was basically, nope, couldn't have been that. How would she know? She never talked to them. That is the part that gets me. You can disagree with Republican policy all day, that's fair game. But claiming you know the motivation of 200-plus people without speaking to a single one of them, and then presenting that as informed Senate testimony, that's a credibility problem. Kennedy was right to call it out. Then the chairman steps in to defend the witness. I get it, you want decorum, but Kennedy's point was valid. Testing a witness's credibility is the job. That's what hearings are for. If your claims fall apart on the first question, that's not bullying, that's oversight. The closing line got attention, and yet landed. but underneath, it was a serious point. If you're sitting before the United States Senate as an expert witness, your analysis needs to be grounded in more than a tweet you fired off because a bill annoyed you. Kennedy did exactly what a senator is supposed to do. He found the weakness, stayed on it, and made the point clearly. Whether you like his style or not, the substance was there.